You see, the Kenyan constitution requires that a president can only serve for 2 terms only. After those 2 terms, the president retires. But it seems that President William Ruto wants to change the constitution so that to remove that requirement of having 2 terms and therefore replace that with 75 years age limit for any presidential leader or anyone who wants to lead as president. And this was brought evidence by the Fafi constituency member of parliament, Mr. Salah Yakub, who said that we want to tell Kenyans that the limit on 2 terms for president should be relooked. We want it to be changed to an age limit where when the age gets to 75 years, then he or she cannot contest. We will come up with an amendment bill to try and change this because we want a requirement to be on age limit and not terms. If a president is doing a good job, then he or she should not be limited by the term. And you see, there are a lot of stories going around about what that member of parliament was trying to say. But to make it clear, one of the presidents that is very friendly and a very close ally of President William Ruto is none other than President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of Uganda, a president who has ruled that country for more than 3 decades, and now the 4th decade is still going around. And before I give my my opinion on that, allow me to give you what Bobi Wine told Kenyans. And remember, Bobi Wine is the opposition leader in Uganda and who is a very threat to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and who always sees Kaguta Museveni's work or his plans from a distance. And this is what he had to tell Kenyans. Dear Kenyans, be vigilant. Save your country from Musevenism. This may come off as a lone MP making a ridiculous suggestion, but this is how it starts. Exactly how Museveni began schemes to remove term and age limit. Defend your constitution before it's too weak to defend you. You see, one revelation is that this is the same way that President Museveni started when he removed the presidential term limit and the age limit that the constitution of Uganda was before Museveni ran for the 2nd, the 3rd, and now counting times. And there's something that I need Kenyans to learn. There's a concept in politics that we call testing the waters. It is basically a strategy, or it's a common tactic by the government when the government wants to implement something that is not of goodwill or is not positively taken by the citizens. They first start it as a joke and then to see how Kenyans or how the citizens will react. And this is probably a proper example on how government tests the water for the citizens. You see, in this case, the president and his people are very much aware and they understand very well that removing the presidential term limit is to bring a perennial president, a president who will never retire for Kenyans, most probably starting with the current sitting president, who is the President William Samoei Ruto. And this move is very important because it is intended to show Kenyans that William Ruto, or President Dr. William Ruto, is just only less than 2 months old as the president. And so it is a move that is supposed to tell Kenyans or to show Kenyans that he cannot be intended to sit on that position for that long, yet he's only two months old. So there is no probability that he is the one sponsoring that campaign to remove that presidential term limit. That is one confusion that the presidency, in my opinion, wanted to drive, but then it is going to flop and it is being taken very negatively and by each or everyone who has seen this. So testing the waters, it has proven that the water is not safe to drink. It is rather salty and not drinkable. And in my take, I don't think this is a very important step to take as Kenyans. I think from where we have come from, our forefathers who fought for independence of this country and those who fought for the constitution knew that some leaders would want to rule forever. Especially in Africa, we have that problem. We had President Mugabe, the late president, and now we have President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the only dictator who is living. And now bringing another, removing a presidential term limit for Kenya is to build another dynasty or to build another kingdom of perennial presidents who never want to retire. So in my opinion, it is not very good for the country because basically people have been jailed fighting for this constitution. People have been put to exile for fighting for the same constitution. Then again coming to tell us to go back to where we have come from. Yet we all know, including the sitting president, has been complaining about how long the Moi family sat for that position for 24 good years before he came to retire. Then to bring back that rule that there is no term limit for a president is to cause pain for Kenyans, and that's a pain point for any citizens who believes in a democratic Kenya.